Football is full of exciting young prospects with the likes of Phil Foden, Jamal Musiala and Benjamin Sesko being some of the latest held as the next big thing in their respective positions. But just because players have bags of potential and an abundance of footballing ability doesn't always mean that they're destined to reach the heights that they were predicted to reach. Whether that comes down to career-ending injuries, getting a big move to a big team a bit too early in their career and then spending a lot of time on the bench, or those that believe their own hype and get complacent and just don't end up training properly or putting in the performances that they need and end up getting dropped. All of these are common reasons for exciting young prospects to fizzle out into a career of mediocrity, with the poster boy of wasted talent in English football being Notts Forest's very own Jesse Lingard. But our focus today isn't on Jesse Lingard. Instead, we're doing a case study on Everton's, or should I say Besiktas's, Dele Alli, who I believe is this footballing generation's version of Jesse Lingard. So let's take a deep dive into the mysterious career of Dele Alli and highlight where it all went wrong. But before we get into that, I'd just like to say, if you like this video, obviously leave a like, comment down below what you want to see next, subscribe and check out the rest of the videos on the channel. But without further ado, let's take a deep dive into the career of Dele Alli.
In from Lingard! In from Dele Alli!
In 2007, an 11-year-old Dele Alli joined his boyhood club MK Dons, where he would play youth football until 2011. He then went on to make his first team debut on November the 2nd, 2012, a year later after leaving the youth setup, as a substitute in a 0-0 draw versus Cambridge City in the FA Cup first round. Alli went on to play 88 games for MK Dons with 24 goals and 17 assists between the years 2012 and 2015, where he even played in a historic 4-0 win over Manchester United in the League Cup in the 14-15 season, which brought the attention of big clubs around Europe, which then led to him being snapped up by Tottenham Hotspurs for £5 million on the 2nd of February 2015, where he was instantly loaned back to Milton Keynes until the end of the season, which led to him securing the Football League Young Player of the Year award in the 14-15 season, ending the season with 16 goals and 9 assists in 39 appearances, which wasn't bad for the young man. And then you move on to the 15-16 season, which was his breakout season, where Spurs were coming off of the back of a 5th place finish, with breakout star at the time Harry Kane getting 21 goals in 34 appearances in all competitions with 5 assists. Accompanied by 5 assists. With Eriksen getting 12 goals and assists in 38 appearances. Was there enough room for 19-year-old Dele Alli to play on this side? Well, only time would tell, and it did exactly that. Alli made 33 appearances with 10 goals and 9 assists in his first top-flight campaign at the age of 19. The highlights of this season were getting man of the match in his first North London derby against Arsenal, and that goal against Crystal Palace that won BBC Goal of the Season. And last but not least, he won PFA Young Player of the Year. So his back-to-back Young Player of the Year awards for the respective leagues that he played in. Alli helped Spurs lead an eventful title charge alongside Harry Kane, Christian Eriksen and Son Heung-min, eventually finishing 3rd, just behind Leicester City in 1st and North London rivals Arsenal in 2nd. With his first Premier League season under his belt, the sky looked to be the limit for young Dele, and people were excited to see what the next few years had in store for the young man. And just like people said about his Spurs teammate Harry Kane the season before, Alli was labelled as a potential one-season wonder, with the start of the 16-17 season edging closer Fans were excited to see what Ali and Tottenham's golden age had in store for them. Ali then went on to score on his Champions League debut this season, and also earned himself January Player of the Month after scoring a brace 3 games in a row, which is quite impressive for an attacking midfielder if you ask me. Ali ended this season with 37 appearances and 18 goals and 9 assists, earning himself a spot in the PFA Team of the Season. So he was in the starting he was in, the best team of the Premier League at the age of 20. And then he won a 3rd straight Player of the Year award, being back-to-back PFA Player of the Year awards, which is very, very impressive. Like, you look at it now with Phil Foden, obviously he won back-to-back PFA Premier League awards last season and the season before. And realistically, if you put them head-to-head, like a young Ali and a young Foden, as much as it pains me to say, Foden doesn't lace Ali's boots. But where does all this lead? With these 3 exceptional campaigns just put behind him, he's clearly an established midfielder. He has to be an established midfielder. He has to be one of the greats, gone to be one of the greats. Well, unfortunately, that wasn't the case then.
Really good run. As Everton maneuver forwards, and they've missed. One of the misses of the pre-season from Dele. Sums up Everton's evening.
That's one of those situations, it's harder to miss the goal than it is to score. Good work on the right-hand side. O'Neal Fisher just dives in too easily. And then the second defender not quite close enough. Eric Dick comes out with the first save. And then as it comes across right here, actually he doesn't even get a hand on it, does he?
After having a slight drop-off in his numbers in the 17-18 season with 36 appearances, 9 goals and 11 assists, Ali looked to be a mainstay in the Premier League when it comes to top midfielders. And then came the 18-19 season. He played 38 games with 7 goals and 8 assists, which isn't too bad. But it wasn't his performances that were the issue here, it was his attitude. Maurizio Pochettino, the Tottenham manager at the time, came out and said in 2018 that Ali needs to be smarter with his injuries, and went on to explain that Ali played on against Spain when he should have come off. He's featured for Spurs since, but only to suffer a setback. This highlights a potential issue that Dele felt like he knew better than his body and could play through the pain, which clearly didn't work. And another prime example of this was Marcus Rashford going to the 2020 Euros despite being injured, and then he also saw setbacks in his career because he just wasn't performing to a standard because he didn't let his body recover and thought he could be the hero, which, if you saw the final of the 2020 Euros, you'd know that Marcus Rashford definitely was not the hero. But he clearly wasn't able to play through the pain, and it didn't work. And it didn't work in his favour. Poch later then went on to say in 2019 that he's worried about Ali's health after Ali had sustained damage to his left hamstring on 4 different occasions. On 4 different occasions in the past 2 years, which is, it's quite a lot in a short space of time. Which then forced him out of, with the latest including one strain that forced him out of 12 matches at the beginning of 2019. Poch went on to say, I think this is the same areas as previous injuries. We're worried. He's still only 23 and has many hamstring problems in the last few years. He needs to pay attention a little bit more on what is going on in his body, and that they're here to help him. And a few more weeks is going are going to go by until he's going to be ready for his injury. But injuries weren't Ali's only problem. His form started to dip towards the end of Poch's reign at Spurs, and Ali was seen as lazy and having an attitude problem, which was then later highlighted by Jose Mourinho in the All or Nothing documentary, where he called Ali fucking lazy in front of the whole squad in a team meeting. Ali had now gained a reputation for being lazy and wasted potential. And this wasn't the worst for Dele. It would get worse. Unfortunately, in the 2020-21 campaign, Ali played 15 games with 0 goals and 1 assist, which was a huge drop-off from his teenage success, which we discussed earlier. And it was also rumoured, this is not 100% fact, but this was speculation, that Ali broke up with his girlfriend at the time because he was playing too many video games, especially Fortnite. And if this was the case, this could also be linked to his poor performances, with him favouring playing Fortnite instead of training or getting enough night's sleep. And also the mental effects that obviously going for a breakup has on you would also affect your working life. It was also reported in 2020 that Dele was robbed of his watch and jewellery at knife point in his own home, in his £2 million mansion even. This adds to the point that Ali wasn't only struggling on the pitch, he was also struggling with difficulties in his personal life, which could have been a leading factor to the performance drop-off. And obviously all of these personal issues that he was having weren't his fault, but some of them were, and some of them could have easily been avoided if Dele was just a bit smarter and took more care of himself. I feel like he peaked too early and thought, I've made it now, I'm great, I'll forever be great, I'll forever be a Premier League footballer because of how good I once was, and thought that he didn't have to try as hard anymore, which is unfortunate because he clearly did, and it clearly hasn't worked out for him since. But we move on. After scoring 1 goal in 10 games for Spurs in the 21-22 season, relegation threatened Everton signed Dele for £40 million on deadline day in January. And even though people would claim that this transfer fee was overpriced, which showed how desperate Everton were to stay up, this was Ali's chance to revive his career and become a hero by leading the Toffees to safety. Fast forward to the end of the season, and Everton were able to stay up. Everton did stay up. I think it was with 3 games to go, with a 3-2 win comeback over Crystal Palace. But unfortunately for Ali, things didn't go to plan. Ali wasn't the hero. Dele played 13 games in total for Everton with 0 goals and assists. No goal contributions in 13 matches. And as of writing this script on the 25th of August 2022, Ali has just completed a loan move to Besiktas for a year, which is really, really sad to see. At just the age of 26, Ali is playing outside of Europe's top 5 leagues even, for being one of England's biggest up-and-coming talents. Like, think about it now. Imagine Saka or Mount, Reece James, Trent, Foden in a few years just playing in Besiktas or in Turkey or any league that's not considered a top 5 league because their performances have dropped off. It's crazy to think. And like, he's not even someone who Frank Lampard is planning to use in a struggling Premier League side. Like, he's not even good enough to fight for relegation, it seems like, which is really sad. And I really do hope that Ali can get his career back on track and have a good end to his career. But as of right now, I don't see this story having a positive ending. And I would like to use this last part of the video to just say to any of you who might be in a football academies or might be playing youth football, might be looking to become a footballer. If you have a breakout season, if you perform really well for a club, just because you have a few good performances doesn't mean you have to stop trying. Because you can't just live off past achievements for your whole life, especially when you are still working in that field. Because there will always be somebody better than you. Or not even someone better than you, someone that's willing to work harder than you. And nobody's irreplaceable in football. So just keep all of that in mind. But we have now come to the end of my short little video piece on Dele Alli. Let me know what you thought in the comments down below. I've been Nathan. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.